Good morning, America. Wildfire emergency. A massive blaze exploding outside Yosemite right at the height of tourist season, forcing an entire town and summer vacationers to evacuate. Images captured on this firefighter's helmet cam showing the flames now threatening the park. More than 20,000 acres scorched, the race to get it under control.
System failure. The GOP effort to repeal Obamacare dies in the Senate, a blow to President Trump. But he's inviting all Republican senators to the White House today, one last stab to close the deal.
I don't think it's dead, no, but I'm certainly disappointed. Repeal.
Can Trump save his signature campaign promise? What will it mean for your health care?
Air rage, a heated fight on board, forcing a JetBlue flight to turn around. A family of 5 saying they were booted after their 1-year-old kicked a seat.
This is ridiculous.
But the airline now saying there's more to the story.
Go big, go!
And the new images of George and Charlotte tugging at mom and dad on the tarmac, eager to get on with their trip. The big day ahead as the Royals kick off the next leg of their European tour.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
What's that, George?
Good morning, America. Okay, the kids are cute. Let's just say it
All
right
right,
there.
get it out there. They just landed the Royals in Germany, next leg of their big trip.
European tour right there. We'll have a little more on that coming up.
But first, we have the race is on to contain the dozens of wildfires in California fueled by extreme heat, forcing thousands of people to flee their homes. This most recent outbreak outside Yosemite National Park. ABC's Kenneth Moten is on the scene for us. Good morning, Kenneth.
Good morning, Robin. Just an incredible scene out here. This fire raging right now, coming down this mountain, houses right in its path. This morning, the fight continues to slow this wildfire and save hundreds of homes. Overnight, an entire town evacuated. More than 1,400 firefighters battling a 25,000-acre fire, threatening 1,500 structures, including homes, destroying at least 8 and damaging another, forcing thousands to flee the mountain town of Mariposa. A chopper pilot capturing this footage on his helmet cam showing the magnitude of this fire, just miles from Yosemite National Park. Clouds of smoke and flames seen for miles. The fire jumping highways, forcing several major roads to close.
No power for all of those staying in the lodges and camping tonight.
Knocking out power in Yosemite Valley, forcing visitors of the national park to turn around during its busiest time of the year. These photos showing how the park filled with smoke in just 4 hours. Overnight, the governor declaring a state of emergency, the fire just 5% contained.
I haven't seen these conditions in a long time. It's a wind-driven, slope-driven, fuel-driven fire.
Adding to the challenge, the fire's rapidly changing conditions, keeping firefighters on the move.
I don't think we can emphasize enough how active and erratic this fire activity is, especially with this fire. It's done stuff that we haven't seen before.
You can see this flare up here. There's a lot fueling this fire after years of drought, record rainfall adding new growth. There's also a dead tree crisis that this part of the state is dealing with. One fire official telling us this morning he hasn't seen a fire behave this way in at least 20 years. Robin?
All right, Kenneth, thank you. And for more now, we'll go to Ginger. Good morning, Ginger.
Oh, good morning to you, Robin. Impressive images coming from that Detweiler fire. This is a time lapse showing how far up into the atmosphere some of those clouds reach. And this is early in the week. Now watch what's going to happen. We've got red flag warnings in place. Northern California, parts of Utah, and air quality alerts. We put on the moisture and the dry. Less than 10% humidity for so many folks through Nevada, even northern Utah. All right up against that moisture in the south from those tropical waves of moisture that come in and give you the monsoon flow. That's going to form thunderstorms. With that will come dry lightning, meaning the rain doesn't make it to the ground, just lightning that starts more fires. Robin and George.
Okay, thank you, Ginger. We're going to get the latest now from Washington, where the GOP effort to repeal Obamacare looks dead this morning. But the Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell says he will still hold a repeal vote next week, even though the measure does not have enough support to pass right now. And the president has invited all Republican senators to the White House for lunch this afternoon. He's going to take one last shot at changing their minds. This comes as he faces new questions about a second meeting with President Putin at the G20 summit. A one-on-one talk that the White House failed to disclose. For more on all this, let's bring in our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hi, George. Good morning to you. Before he was elected, President Trump said that no one knows the system better than him and that he alone could fix it. He is now learning it is not that easy, as this morning one of his signature campaign promises is on the verge of collapse.
Pretty tough.
President Trump today hoping for one last shot. A senior White House official tells ABC News it was President Trump's idea to invite Republican senators for lunch, a White House field trip where the art of the deal president hopes he'll get a chance to make a face-to-face appeal and convince his party to repeal and replace Obamacare.
I don't think it's dead, no, but I'm certainly disappointed.
But on Capitol Hill, the signature campaign promise all but dead.
7 years I've been hearing repeal and replace from Congress. When we finally get a chance to repeal and replace, they don't take advantage of it, so that's disappointing.
Disappointed, but so far not blaming Republicans, who were divided from the start.
It would be nice to have Democrat support, but really they're obstructionists. They have no ideas.
Mitch McConnell in defeat.
It's pretty clear that there are not 50 Republicans at the moment to vote for a replacement for Obamacare.
But the Senate Majority Leader isn't backing down yet. He's now planning to hold a vote early next week to simply repeal rather than replace Obamacare. That move has Democrats pouncing.
To go forward with repeal again without replacing is not only insanity, it is a disservice to the American people.
Even some Republicans are already protesting.
We should not repeal without a replacement, and just an indefinite hold on this just creates more chaos and confusion.
Now, President Trump also said that it will be a lot easier to let Obamacare fail, and that if that happens, the blame would fall squarely on Democrats. But again, he is hoping for one last shot to change some minds here today, as he invited every GOP senator here to the White House to talk about health care, George.
And Cecilia, as we said, this is coming as the president is facing new questions now about that second meeting he had with Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit. One report that it lasted up to an hour at that dinner, and the White House had not disclosed this previously.
Yeah, we just learned about this meeting yesterday, George, but the White House is really trying to downplay this one. I'm being told here that this was a very social setting with all the G20 leaders, that at one point during this dinner, the president decided to walk over to see the First Lady to talk to her. She was seated next to Vladimir Putin. The president did this, I'm told, with many other leaders. This wasn't just specific to Vladimir Putin, that he communicated, however, using Russia's translator. The president is tweeting about this morning, calling this story sick, saying, even a dinner arranged for top 20 leaders in Germany is made to look sinister. But, George, here's the deal. We may never know what really happened inside this dinner. It was the president. There were no other aides inside this dinner at the G20.
Okay, Cecilia Vega, thanks very much. Let's talk now to Senator Rand Paul, who is one of the key votes against the Senate health care plan. Senator Paul, thank you for joining us this morning. You're calling the defeat of the Senate health care plan a victory for conservatives, but this has been a 7-year promise to repeal and replace Obamacare. You have control of the Senate, you have control of the House, you have the White House right now. Obamacare is in place. How is this a victory for conservatives?
Well, no, what I'm calling a victory is not the defeat of the plan. What I'm calling a victory is that we will get to vote on a clean repeal. I've been advocating that we repeal Obamacare, all of it, and we're at least going to get a vote on a partial repeal, and that is a victory because I wasn't in favor of an insurance company bailout. The previous bill had about $180 billion to give to insurance companies. Look, insurance companies have gotten rich on Obamacare. They used to make $6 billion a year in profit. They're now up to $15 billion a year in profit. We shouldn't be giving any taxpayer money to insurance companies, so I objected to that, but I'm actually in favor of and will vote to go to the clean repeal that's being proposed
but
now.
Senator, as you know, there aren't the votes now for the clean repeal, and back in January, you warned against repealing without a replacement. You said that repealing that would risk the blame for the continuing unraveling of Obamacare.
Yeah.
So isn't that still the case?
Yeah, I still favor replacement at the same time, but what we discovered is that Republicans don't agree on replacement. My idea of replacement is letting people join co-ops and letting people get the discount and leverage of getting lower prices by joining a big group. And in fact, one thing that I'm going to recommend to the president, if I see the president today, is that I believe he can unilaterally legalize these buying groups through the Department of Labor. There's a special law that was passed in the 70s, the ERISA law, and we think that he has the discretion to legalize this. So if this does break down in Congress, I think there's one enormous thing that President Trump can do on his own, and that is to let anybody in the country get out of the individual market where the death spiral is and get into an association so they can get better pricing.
I know you want to see the president tape, but the New York Times is reporting he's kind of annoyed with you. He told those other senators on Monday night that he was upset with your grandstanding to defeat the Senate bill.
I think the president and I have a good relationship. I've been one of his strongest defenders. I will continue to defend him against mainstream media attacks. But on issues of substance like health care, he knows where I'm coming from. I've been here, ever since I ran for office. I was at the first Tea Parties saying that Obamacare was a mistake and we should repeal it, the whole thing. And I always wanted to replace it and still do, but I want to replace it with freedom, competition, legalize inexpensive insurance. I just don't want another big government program. And I'm also fearful, both politically and also from a point of view of policy, that if we keep parts of Obamacare in place, that the Republican plan will fail. And I'm really wanting Republicans to be saved from themselves, because if they take over health care and pass something that resembles Obamacare and doesn't work, then we will own a terrible and tragic health care system. And I don't think Republicans ought to own this thing. I agree with the president. Obamacare is a disaster, but it's the Democrats' creation, and all the problems of its unraveling belong to Democrats.
Senator, our viewers, as you might imagine, are intensely interested in this, getting a lot of questions on Facebook, more on this subject than any other. And here's the one that's coming in more than any other. Dawn Polshewitz has an example. Why can't we all have the health care program that the senators and congressmen have? We are getting that question again and again and again.
Yeah, and I think it comes from a misconception that some of the media promoted. We actually are stuck with Obamacare. My family, we hate what we have. We used to be on the federal employee plan. The federal employee plan is actually not a bad plan, and most people do like the federal employee plan, but we are on Obamacare. It's a misconception that we're not on Obamacare. We have Obamacare. It's terrible. My wife and I spend hours on the phone trying to get the insurance companies to pay for anything. We're just like every American, very, very frustrated with the insurance system.
Senator Paul, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Robin?
All right, George, now to new developments overnight. In that fatal police shooting in Minnesota, a bride-to-be killed after she called 911 for help. Now, one of the officers who was there on the scene is revealing new details about what happened. ABC's Lindsay Davis is in Minneapolis with more. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning to you, Robin. We know that Justine Damon made that 911 call on Saturday night, and we know that police responded to that call. Well, today we are expecting to get a transcription of that call once her family gets to see it first.
Late Tuesday, investigators revealed new details from an interview with the officer driving the vehicle that Justine Damon was standing beside when she was killed. Two officers responded to Damon's 911 call Saturday night, reporting a possible assault outside. We're now learning the officer who fired the shot, Mohammed Noor, has declined to be interviewed.
It's frustrating to have some of the picture, but not all of it. We cannot compel Officer Noor to make a statement by law, but I wish that he would make that statement.
But Matthew Harity, who was driving the police car, answered questions Tuesday, saying the officers drove south through the alley in search of a suspect with the squad lights off. Harity told investigators they were first startled by a loud noise nearby. Then Damon approached the driver's side window, and Noor then fired his gun through the open driver's side window. According to Minneapolis TV station KARE, Harity was stunned when his partner opened fire. It's still unclear just why the officer's body cameras were not rolling during the incident. And while the police chief has been in contact with her executive team over the past 3 days, she's been out of the state on a personal trip, which a police spokesperson said she plans to cut short, returning to Minneapolis today. Overnight, the Australian Prime Minister joined the growing chorus of people demanding answers in the death of Justine Damon.
How can a woman out in the street in her pajamas seeking assistance from the police be shot like that? It is a shocking killing.
What's unique about this case is the district attorney says he does not plan to give the case to a grand jury to decide whether or not to prosecute the officer. He says that it's a determination he'll make himself. Robin?
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Going to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. You've been following this very closely. We heard what the mayor said about the police officer who shot Justine, that by law that he can't be compelled to make a statement?
Yeah, he's got a Fifth Amendment right, just like anybody else, to invoke that right to say, I'm not going to testify. He is clearly being looked at in the context of a criminal investigation, and it is his right not to testify. The problem with that, of course, is that it looks terrible, right?
Sure.
In connection with an investigation into a police shooting, when the officer says, I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to testify. you know, they're going to certainly lead to a lot of questions about that.
And there's still a lot of questions why the body cams were not turned off.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear that this ended up being a violation of their policy there, meaning they're supposed to turn on their body cams. Remember, these are things you have to turn on and off, right? So they're supposed to turn them on either when there is criminal activity or before the use of force. Now, expect that the officers would say, look, we were just patrolling, and if that other officer's testimony is accurate, which is he suddenly hears a loud sound, and then there's a shot, they may say we didn't have time to take that kind of action in terms of turning it on. And they are supposed to turn them on as soon as it is safe to do so.
Because even if you turn it on, doesn't it go back in time?
Correct.
In recording?
30 seconds.
Right.
It goes back 30 seconds. So it should have recorded the 30 seconds prior to the time that they turn it on as well. So that certainly would have been invaluable evidence in the context of this investigation. And you can tell that everyone involved in the investigation is frustrated that they don't have that.
All right. More to come.
Yep.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. We'll have you back in just a little bit. Now let's go to Amy with the morning's other top stories. A startling headline that you're beginning with.
Yeah, this is truly a horrific one. A 10-year-old boy from Miami appears to be among the youngest victims of the nation's opioid epidemic. His name is Alton Banks, and he was found unconscious after visiting a nearby pool. Investigators say Alton died from exposure to a mix of fentanyl and heroin. They say it may have been on a towel or on some surface there at the pool. They are asking the public for help figuring out the source of the drug. And there is more bad news for Chipotle today. The fast food chain temporarily shut down a restaurant in Virginia after several customers reported an illness consistent with norovirus. Its stock dropped 4% on Tuesday. And a New York family is demanding an apology from JetBlue, claiming the airline kicked them off a flight for no reason and is threatening to blacklist them from future flights. The couple, traveling with 3 children, says a flight attendant asked them to get off the plane in Fort Lauderdale after they exchanged words with another passenger who had complained about their 1-year-old daughter kicking the back of a chair. The airline says the couple physically and verbally threatened the passenger and says their daughter's actions had nothing to do with their removal. And in Southern California, an explosive scene. Look at that, when 2 Mylar balloons got loose and then hit these power lines, causing a power outage in Long Beach. Public officials have warned about the danger of these foil balloons. And there will not be a Donald-Hillary rematch after all. Social media was in a frenzy when it appeared Tropical Storm Don in the Atlantic could strengthen just as Tropical Storm Hillary formed in the Pacific. But Don has fizzled out, and Hillary, with 1 L, is not a strong enough storm yet to be named. Right now, it's just a depression. So if you hear meteorologists say that Don is not a threat to the U.S. or that Hillary is a depression, just know that they're not making political statements. Just wanted to give that warning to everyone.
Aren't you glad we're avoiding that one?
Just smile and nod. Just smile and nod.
Instead of leaning in, we're leaning out.
Thank you, Amy. Let's go back to Ginger. A lot of dangerous heat out there.
There is, and I have to say, though, I looked in the hurricane list because they're all laid out. There is a Sean by the time we get to S, so we could have a Spicer storm. I'm just giving you that ahead of time, all right? It could happen. I'll go there. Ring of fire in place. Talking about Johnny Cash? No, we're talking about a big dome of heat that has settled over from North Dakota to New Jersey, and the heat advisories all the way into Louisiana. Excessive heat warning because of this. By Wednesday, right here this afternoon, 100 Kansas City feels like 103 Little Rock. All right, let's get to the heat index forecast by Sprint.
Hi, I'm Paul. People ask why I switched to Sprint. Well, their network reliability is within 1% of the big guys, and they have the best price for unlimited among national carriers. And wait, are you watching this on the awesome iPhone 7? You gotta get iPhone 7 from Sprint, and they'll give you a second one on them. What are you doing? Go switch to Sprint.
Who's he talking to?
I don't know, but I'd better go to Sprint.
Wait.
2 iPhone 7s! Love you!
Get Sprint Unlimited. And now, get iPhone 7 and get a second iPhone 7 on us.
The area under a code orange air quality for today. So those with lung, heart issues, if you suffer from asthma, limit your time outdoors today. It really covers our area for the afternoon and early evening hours. We top out today at 96 degrees. It will feel like we're way over 100 today. In fact, triple-digit readings for the feels like temperature through the weekend. Quite high with a forecast high of 99 on Saturday. Could see an isolated shower or storm.
And coming up here on GMA, the big hearing. Will O.J. Simpson get parole, walk free after 9 years behind bars? What his former prison guard is saying. Dan and Nancy join us live.
And the race to rescue this dog belonging to an NFL player, stolen while he was away. Was social media to blame?
Come with us to a new world, deeper than the ocean, as unfathomable